Now we want to write backend code for fetch user data from MySQL table. So in backend directory, we have goes into routes directory and create new file with name like user.js. Under this file, first we have to write constant express variable equal to require function with express module. So here, we have imported the Express framework to create a web server and define API routes for managing users in our point of sale system. Next we have to write constant router variable equal to express.router method. So here, we have created a new Express router instance to organize and handle user-related API endpoints separately from other routes. After this, we have to write constant MySQL variable equal to require function with MySQL to promise module. Then we have to write destructuring import with body, validation result, param, and query from Express Validator module. So here, we have brought in validation tools to check and sanitize incoming data for user API requests, which ensuring secure inputs. Next we have to write constant bcrypt variable equal to require function with bcrypt.js module. So here, we have imported the bcrypt library for password hashing, which we may use in other user routes for secure password storage. After this, we have to write constant jwt variable equal to require function with JSON web token module. So here, we have imported the jwt library to verify authentication tokens, which ensuring only authorized users access the API. Then we have to write constant db variable equal to require function with db module from parent directory. So here, we have imported the MySQL database connection pool, which allowing reusable and secure database queries for user data. Next we want to make authentication for check login user token, which we already make in category management module. And here, we have copied this function and goes to users file and paste here. Next we have to write router.get method for /users path with authenticateToken middleware plus a validation array. So here, we have created a get endpoint to fetch user data for the data tables, which ensuring only authenticated admins can access it, and validating query parameters. Inside the validation array, we have to write query validator for draw with optional and is integer methods. So here, we have ensured the data table's draw counter is an optional integer for syncing server responses with the client table. Next we have to write query validator for start with optional and is integer methods. So here, we have checked that the starting record index for pagination is an optional integer, which defining where to begin fetching users. After this, we have to write query validator for length with optional and is integer methods. So here, we have ensured the number of records per page is an optional integer, which supporting data tables pagination. Then we have to write query validator for search value variable with optional and is string methods. So here, we have verified that the search term for filtering users is an optional string, which allowing flexible text searches. Next we have to write query validator for order variable with 0 index column variable with optional and is integer methods. So here, we have ensured the column index for sorting is an optional integer, which specifying which column to sort by. After this, we have to write query validator for order variable with 0 index direction variable with optional and is in method for ascending or descending order. So here, we have checked that the sort direction is either ascending or descending order, which ensuring valid sorting for data tables. After the validation array, we have to write a sync arrow function with request and response parameters. So here, we have defined the main handler for the user's endpoint, which marked as async, to handle database queries, with await for admin-only access. Inside the handler, we have to write constant errors equal to validation result function with request parameter. So here, we have collected any validation errors from the query parameters to ensure they are valid before querying the database. Next we have to write if condition for checking if errors.isEmpty is false. So here, we have checked if there are any validation errors, then it will stopping the process if the query parameters are invalid to avoid bad database calls. If errors exist, then we have to write return with response.status 400.json, which containing error details. So here, we have sent a 400 bad request response with validation errors to the frontend, which halting further processing. Next we have to write constant columns array with user field names. So here, we have defined the database column names that map to data tables columns, which ensuring correct field references for sorting and data display. After this, we have to write constant draw equal to passed query draw parameter or default to 1. So here, we have extracted the data tables draw counter to sync server responses with client requests. Then we have to write constant start equal to passed query start parameter or default to 0. So here, we have gotten the starting index for paginated user records, which supporting data tables page navigation. Next we have to write constant length equal to passed query length parameter or default to 10. So here, we have set the number of records to fetch per page, which enabling pagination in the user table. After this, we have to write constant search value equal to query search value or empty string. So here, we have extracted the search term for filtering users by name, email, type, or status. Then we have to write constant order column equal to passed order column index or default to 0. So here, we have gotten the column index for sorting, mapping to the columns array for dynamic SQL sorting. Next we have to write constant order direction equal to query order direction or default to ascending. So here, we have set the sorting direction like ascending or descending for the selected column. After this, we have to write constant order equal to columns array at order column index. So here, we have mapped the data tables column index to the actual database column name, like user ID, for the SQL order by clause. Then we have to write try block for database operations. So here, we have started a safe block to handle database queries, catching errors like connection issues, to keep the server stable. Inside the try block, we have to write query to count all users. So here, we have fetched the total number of users in the user table, which providing data tables with the total record count for display. Next we have to write let filter query with base SQL query for filtered count. So here, we have initialized a query to count filtered users with an always true condition for safely adding search conditions. After this, we have to write constant filter params as empty array. So here, we have created an array to hold parameterized values for the filtered query, which preventing SQL injection. Then we have to write if condition for checking if search value exists. So here, we have checked if a search term was provided to filter users by name, email, type, or status. Inside the if block, we have to write filter query concatenation with search conditions. So here, we have added SQL-like conditions to filter users based on name, email, type, or status, using placeholders for security. Next we have to write filter params push with wildcard wrapped search value for each field. So here, we have added the search term with percentage wildcards to the parameters array, which enabling partial matches across multiple fields. After this, we have to write query to count filtered users with parameters. So here, we have executed the filter query to get the number of users matching the search criteria, which providing data tables with the filtered record count. Then we have to write let data query with base SQL query for user data. So here, we have initialized a query to select all user columns with an always true condition for adding search and pagination clauses. Next we have to write constant data params variable as empty array. Thereby here, we have created an array for parameterized values in the main data query, which ensuring secure SQL execution. After this, we have to write if condition for checking if search value variable exists. So here, we have checked if the search term needs to be applied to the main data query, which matching the filtered count logic. Inside the if block, we have to write data query concatenation with search conditions. So here, we have added the same like conditions as the filtered count to ensure consistent filtering across queries. Next we have to write data params.push with wildcard wrapped search value. So here, we have added the search term parameters to match the filtering logic and keeping the query secure and consistent. Then we have to write data query concatenation with order by and limit clauses. So here, we have added dynamic sorting by the chosen column and direction plus pagination limits to fetch the correct slice of user data. Next we have to write data params variable.push with start and length values. So here, we have added pagination parameters to specify which records to return for the current data tables page. After this, we have to write query to fetch user data with parameters. So here, we have executed the data query to get the filtered, sorted, and paginated user records from the user table. Then we have to write response.json with DataTables compatible object. So here, we have sent a JSON response with the draw counter, total records, filtered records, and user data, which matching the DataTables protocol for the frontend table. Next we have to write catch block with error parameter. So here, we have caught any database errors, like connection issues, or query failures, to handle them, without crashing the server. After this, we have to write response.status 500.json with a generic error message. So here, we have sent a 500 internal server error response to the frontend, which keeping sensitive details hidden for security. Finally, we have to write module.exports equal to router. So here, we have exported the router to be mounted in the main server file like index.js. So here, our backend code is ready for fetch user data from database and send this data to frontend for load in jQuery data tables. So here, we have open this index.js file, and in this file, first we have to write constant user router variable is equal to require method with path of user routes file. Thereby here, we have imported the user router module from the routes directory, which brings in all user-related API endpoints, which defined in the user.js file, for use in our Express application. After this, we have to write app.use method with /API base path and user router variable as middleware. Hence here, we have mounted the user router under the /API prefix, which making all user endpoints accessible at paths like /API/users when requests hit the server. So here, our code is ready for load user data in jQuery data tables under this React point of sale application. Now first, we want to restart Node server, so here, in Node application terminal, we have restart server by running this command. Now in browser, we have refresh web page, so after refresh of web page, here, we can see that user data has been loaded in jQuery data tables with server-side processing of data. Here, we can perform live searching data operation, so we easily search data under this data tables. Here, we can see that in each row, edit button is also generated for edit existing user data. Next, we will show you how to add new user data under this React point of sale application.